HBO's The Last of Us just received its first trailer, highlighting the many Easter eggs and recreated scenes from the video game featured in the upcoming show. The Last of Us adaptation was announced in 2020 and then developed by Craig Mazin, creator of the highly acclaimed Chernobyl series on HBO, and Neil Druckmann, who directed the original game in 2013. Druckmann's involvement in the show is likely one of the main reasons behind the show's obvious faithfulness to The Last of Us game, as he has a great passion for the world he originally created alongside Bruce Straley. This faithfulness from HBO's The Last of Us is evident throughout the entirety of the show's first trailer, though it has also been obvious since the beginning of its development. The first image of the show's Joel and Ellie was a testament to this devotion, as the two could be seen wearing almost identical clothing to their video game counterparts. The trailer for The Last of Us goes even further, showing some familiar scenes involving the characters from the games. The references go beyond Joel and Ellie, too, with the first trailer for The Last of Us featuring many characters, locations, and creatures found in the original video games. This continues to prove how important fidelity to 2013's The Last of Us game was when crafting the series adaptation. With that said, here is every scene and respective Easter eggs taken directly from the source material for HBO's The Last of Us and its first trailer. Joel and Sarah from The Last of Us opening scene. The opening scene in The Last of Us video game features Joel and his daughter Sarah, alongside his brother Tommy, attempting to escape Austin after the initial outbreak of the cordyceps infection. The trailer for The Last of Us show presents almost an exact recreation of this scene, albeit with some exaggerated aspects to fit the TV medium, such as a plane falling from the sky and exploding. The game shows these events from the eyes of Sarah, whom the player controls, and the series trailer features a scene in which Sarah is looking out of the back of Tommy's pickup truck, framed almost identically to the game level. Outside of this, some iconic imagery of Joel carrying Sarah in his arms to escape the infected is also in the trailer for the show, seemingly ripped directly from the game. Other aspects prove how the scenes are almost identical. From the setting, with Joel, Pedro Pascal, and Sarah, Bella Ramsey, escaping the infected through downtown Austin and it being the middle of the night, to the frantic panic tone of the scene, the inspiration is evident. An Easter egg referencing the opening scene of the game comes by way of the second shot of Joel in the trailer. The camera pans from a broken watch being worn by Joel up to his face. That watch is a reference to the one given to him by Sarah for his birthday in the opening sequence and is something that Joel wears for the entirety of the game. The Fireflies logo and leader appear in The Last of Us trailer. Another Easter egg nodding to the games shows a graffiti logo being painted over. The logo is that of the Fireflies, a revolutionary militia group from the games. Shown alongside this logo, later in the trailer, is Marlene, leader of the Fireflies and one of The Last of Us main characters. In the show, Marlene is portrayed by Merle Dandridge, who originated the character in the game. This is another cool Easter egg, given she's the same actor reprising the role. Another nod in the trailer is Marlene's stomach wound, which she also has when first introduced in the game. Joel, Ellie, and Tess journey through Boston. Another scene in both the game and the trailer for HBO's The Last of Us is Joel, Ellie, and Tess journey out of Boston. One of the levels of the game involves Joel and Tess smuggling Ellie out of the city, leading them through a rundown Boston outside the quarantine zone. This leads them through overgrown neighborhoods filled with The Last of Us creatures, clickers and runners. The trailer shows the three trying to stay quiet to avoid the clickers, as well as a white establishing shot that features a cool game Easter egg. The level in the game has two collapsed skyscrapers in the background, a location detail shown in the trailer. Tess' voiceover in The Last of Us trailer is similar to the game. The voiceover from the trailer hints at another video game scene included in HBO's The Last of Us show. The voiceover comes from Tess, explaining how Joel has a chance to make things right by keeping Ellie alive. This voiceover is very similar to a speech Tess makes in the game shortly before she dies, in which she convinces Joel to take Ellie to the Fireflies. While slightly expanded, the speech's message reads the same, in that Tess believes in Joel and Ellie. Joel and Ellie encountering Nick Offerman's Bill. Another character from the game shown in the trailer for HBO's The Last of Us show is Bill, played by Nick Offerman. In the game, Bill is a reclusive survivalist whom Joel and Ellie seek out for help in finding a car to get across the country. In the trailer, Bill is shown observing several CCTV screens and also pointing a gun at Joel, who is trapped in some kind of ditch. These scenes are Easter eggs referencing Bill's nature from the game, as he is described as a highly anxious, paranoid individual, hence his lonely living arrangement. The CCTV cameras and distrust of Joel only hint at this paranoid nature existing in the show alongside the game. Ellie's backstory with Riley from The Last of Us DLC. It is clear from the trailer for The Last of Us that the show will incorporate the Left Behind prequel DLC and Riley, Storm Reed, a character from Ellie's past, into the HBO show's main story. While the events of Left Behind are important to Ellie's character, they were shown in DLC after the game's initial release. As the nature of a TV show allows for different storytelling techniques, it is clear from the trailer that Riley and Ellie's backstory will be a focus in the main story, as opposed to something separate like Left Behind. The trailer shows Ellie and Riley riding a carousel, which is an Easter egg, nodding to a small sequence of Left Behind, in which the two joke around on a carousel. It is clear from this reference that Riley will be a big part of The Last of Us, and that a relationship with Ellie will be pivotal in HBO's adaptation. As Left Behind takes place before the main game, it will be interesting to see how HBO handles The Last of Us timeline and whether it will be depicted the same as the game's story. Joel and Ellie's pivotal winter scene. The last scene from The Last of Us source material featured in the HBO show's trailer is a pivotal moment from the video game's winter section. In the trailer is a scene with Ellie covered in blood while Joel holds her head in his hands. This shot is directly from the game, despite it being in a slightly different setting, and comes from a sequence that Joel and Ellie's relationship changes. In this scene, Joel truly accepts Ellie as his surrogate daughter for the first time, hinting that this sequence will play out largely the same way when the series adaptation of The Last of Us debuts on HBO in 2023.